mindful. Hello and welcome to Sports Opinion, the weekly sports talk show on Channel 18, which is a public access TV station. My name is Dirk Keller. This is my buddy Bob Boyd.
Hi, Dirk Keller.
That's my other buddy, Bud Supple. And this here's Earl Murphy. He's the guy. I want to remind everyone, this is the longest running show on Iowa City Public Access TV. We're not sure how long. We know it's at least 25 years. And it's been continuous since then. Earl and his son Joe behind the camera started this venture, and it's still going strong. And I don't know how long you've been on the show, Bob, but
I don't either, but it was started, Earl started it with Joe and Al Grady, famous sports writer of the Press Citizen when it was a real paper.
And Tom Brandt.
And
the Cub guy.
I know the other guy.
The other guy.
I don't know his name.
Anyway, how long have I been on here? I don't know.
Dwayne Thomas.
Dwayne Thomas.
15
dead
years,
now.
I suppose, something like that.
I started about 13 or 14 years ago, and you were already here.
Well, that's right.
Bud
It might
was
be
already
longer
here.
than that. Bud's been here longer than that.
In all those 25 years, I don't know that we've ever struck a nerve like we did last week with our show, at least the opening portion of our show when we addressed the issues going on at Regina High School and the irritation that President Lee Iben has created there. We normally get about 5, 10, on a good day, 15 people viewing our online version of the show. And this week, just before showtime, we had 311 people who looked at the show. And we understand the Davenport Diocesan Office has been taking a look at it. I think we'll all agree that we're not going to get into a whole lot here about it today. It's really not sports related, but I think it is.
Why not?
Well, it's gonna have an impact on the Regina football program.
Regina football program for sure, and they should be proud that he's won so many games.
Yeah.
And there's all kinds of people now are interested in Regina, especially football.
Especially
I'm
football.
glad you bring that up, Murph. If we have to get out and get the truth out of this story.
Yeah, we've
That's
been
right.
told to. We've been. I don't know how to put it. We've been told to shut up, basically, and not in those words, but I think too many things have been buried out there for too long time. And if you want to get real about it, the Catholic Church got in trouble by shutting up and not being open and honest
That's right.
about the priests and the pedophilia issues. That's not going on now at
That's
Regina.
not this issue.
That's
though.
not this issue.
Let's make that
Yeah.
quite clear.
That's correct. Not even
Yes.
close.
No. It's a different issue from that, but it's about cover-up.
Yeah.
Okay, and I think that's what we're dealing with, and it will get straightened out, and it will hopefully not take too long, but it needs to get taken care of, the problems they have.
Who is the power behind this? The priests, or who is it?
Well, I think technically, Murph, the Davenport Diocese would be the probably the people that can really do something about it. Typically, though, I would say over the years, most of these local issues within the Catholic Church are solved by the local priests and the local churches kind of handling their own business, you know?
I got a question for you. Speaking of
But,
the local priests,
yeah.
does Father Fitz at the Newman Center also enter into this equation, or is he completely
I
separate?
don't think he does. I think it's the four
Yeah,
parishes.
he wasn't on that
it's the
list
four
of-
parishes. Would Father Fitz
I think
have an
Father-
opinion? Certainly.
Oh, yeah.
Father Fitz does contribute to it. I mean, he's behind Regina, but he's more the student center.
University.
Yes,
University
that's
students,
right.
and-
He's in charge of the University of
But he's
Iowa
very good.
Newman Center.
He's very good with
Yeah.
all the parishes.
Hey, he's
Yeah,
a big
he is,
Hawkeye
yeah.
fan.
And
Yeah.
another thing I'm going to have to say, I think we have to give our school board, and I don't even know who's on that school board, a lot of credit, because they've been working many, many hours on this.
That is correct.
And it's not fair to them to have to deal with this so many times for so long.
Right.
The right thing to do in this case would be to realize, okay, I made a colossal mistake and I need to step down. For the sake of the school, for the sake of the students, the parents, everybody involved.
But to answer your question, I believe that the school board has to deal with the issue. The parish priests are members of that school board.
Have you ever been
They
on that
each have a
board?
vote. Yes, I have. I've been president of that school board
Yeah.
years ago.
Yeah.
And vice president. So whatever happens will have to come through the Regina High School School Board. That's where it's all got to start. And I agree with Bud. Those people have a big job and they have a lot on their plate right now, and it's a very difficult situation with a lot of emotion and a lot of facts that need to be reviewed and reviewed properly and give everybody a fair shake on both sides and then make a decision. I just hope it doesn't last too much longer,
Yeah.
you know?
I think it takes a lot of guts for you, Bob, and you, Bud, to speak out like you do, because you've been involved on the board, you've been involved from a contributor's standpoint in a major way, both of you. You've both put children and grandchildren through Regina, and it's tough. It can get political, it can get difficult, divisive, and like I said, we've heard from a few folks who've said, we wish you wouldn't have done that.
Well, I've heard from more that are glad that we did.
Yep.
So,
Yeah,
Way
right.
more,
in
way more.
any
Yeah.
school situation, and if you're an administrator or if you're a coach, and they all know this, you cannot please everybody. You're always gonna have two sides to every story and lots of opinions, and, you know, it's about filtering through all of that and getting to the truth.
Yeah.
And then resolving the situation, whatever it is. And I have a lot of confidence. There's a lot of good people involved in this
Yes.
out there. And I have a lot of confidence that they will get the right thing decided eventually, so.
And that's what the board, among other things, that's what the board is there to do,
Yeah.
is to
that's right.
guide the school through these kind of issues.
See,
Maybe
this-
not this kind of issue,
This
but,
didn't happen just now. This
No.
started 2 years ago.
Is that right?
We had a athletic director that just worked,
what was his name?
I can't even think of it, but I
Long
mean,
name.
The former
Jones? Was it Jones?
Wisniewski?
Yes, that's him.
oh, no, I'm not talking about him. He was a good one. But then
Oh,
they
yeah.
hired this Jones, was it?
Oh, yeah, Brett Jones.
And he didn't do anything.
Well, that was a bad hire. That's a
I
part of
know,
this issue, you're
But
right.
that's, I mean,
Yeah.
this all started,
Yeah.
and,
When did Lee Ivan start?
About 2.5 years ago,
well, he hired this Jones.
about 3
Well,
years
he was
ago,
president
actually.
when this Jones come.
Okay.
And he quit halfway during his, then he went off and he took his salary and everything.
He was there about, what, 9 months?
He was there, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
He fired the boys' basketball coach the day after the season ended, and the boys' team had won 19 games. Eventually, the girls' basketball coach got quit, as they
Resigned.
say, yeah.
Yeah. Asked to resign.
Yeah.
I think they all got a little money under the table to hush it up again.
I don't know that. but,
I don't know
you
that
The
either.
thing is,
Be careful.
there's been a lot of things that have not been handled properly. I mean, that's what we're dealing with here. And so,
Yeah.
that's about leadership. See, the buck stops here. The buck stops somewhere, okay?
Yeah.
It's usually the guy at the top,
That's right. That's right.
okay? That, I don't care what you do, what business you're in or what
Right.
school system you're in. If you're a coach or if you're an administrator, that's where it lands,
That's right.
period.
And if the
So-
top position person has been accused of falsifying documents, it leads me to question what else he may have done. My point of contention is if he's dumb enough to think he can get away with falsifying documents to the Board of Education, what else did he do? You know, that's what scares me. It's time for a change, and it's time to put it to rest. We appreciate the feedback that you give us on this, whether you're for us or against us, in terms of opening our mouths. But I will say it again, I think it took a lot of courage for Bob here and Bud there to step up, speak out, and give their opinion on this very contentious matter.
Well, one thing is, this is sports opinion, and I would like to stick to sports, but one thing I'd like to express to everybody here and watching, we have a right to our opinion. That's what this country's all about. We just saw that vote yesterday, November 4th. So, you know, whether you agree with us or not, that's your opinion. This is our opinion.
Yeah.
And so that's where I'm coming from, and if you don't like it, that's unfortunate.
And we talked before the show and said, if somebody has a different opinion about this subject matter, tell us.
Yeah.
And we'll bring you on the show.
Verbalize
We'll
it.
talk about it. You know, we're happy to do
One
it.
other thing, I was assured that when this is all over, we will get all the details. There's gonna be no hiding underneath the table.
That's what's important.
I don't believe
That's
Joe
what's-
Murphy believes you.
What's important is
That's right.
all the details out there and the truth,
Yeah, that's
truth.
right.
okay?
That's all we want.
You know, and what, hey, if we're wrong, prove us wrong.
Oh, I don't.
We want the Catholic attitude.
That's right.
Yeah. And I don't think anybody's accusing us of being wrong.
Oh,
I
I-
think they're accusing us of speaking out.
You're after a school that has just done a fascinating job of playing football, volleyball, baseball,
Basketball, you name it.
Soccer?
soccer.
But here's,
They won
and
4
this
or
is
5
how it all
times.
impacts sports.
Yes, that's
You're
right.
going to lose enrollment. I said it last week, if Lee Iben's still the president, next school year, my son's not going to be a freshman at Regina next year. I've had enough. And I've had enough of things being buried under the carpet. It's got to end. But we're not the only ones, and the enrollment has gone down the last couple of years. If you remember, we were a 2A school. Now, I know they've changed the regulations for 1A versus 2A, but we also know enrollment is going down, down, down. And that needs not only to change, but it needs to reverse. Enrollment needs to go up. There are ways to do it. They have somebody in place who is in charge of basically recruiting. They've got somebody in place for fundraising,
You're missing one point.
yeah.
There's 4 people here on this panel, Sports Illustrated, that get the word out.
Yeah.
And
And we feel strongly about Regina. It's our school. Plain and simple.
Well, that's the thing that bothers us. There's so many negatives out there right now that are not being addressed quick enough. And because, you know, we love the school, it's been here for, since 1958.
Yeah.
And
Is
it's
that
done
right?
a lot of great things, and it's got a lot of positive energy, has, you know, been
Where's-
instilled in the community because of it. And so I'd like to be dwelling on the
Does
positives, not the negatives, and that's what we're hearing.
does anybody know Marv Cook, what is going to happen to him?
No,
No,
No.
no.
Okay.
no.
But I will have to say, I've been to all the football games. The spirit's still out there, strong and heavy for the
Oh, yeah.
whole school.
That's right.
And my grandkids tell me it's good out at the school.
Yep.
But they all know what's going on too.
They do.
That's a bad thing
Yeah.
to the parents and stuff. So I want to shut off for them, so something has to be done. That's
Well,
it.
and there was some good stuff going on out there Monday night. Bud and I were at the game. Were you at the Wednesday game last week?
Yeah,
State tournament continues, or the state playoffs continue to
Yeah.
go on. It's down to 4 teams in each class.
18.
18.
Oh, it's 8?
Yeah. Is there an
I'm
extra-
sorry, you're right.
extra
Quarterfinals are
After Friday, yeah.
There's one extra week this year.
Yeah. So 8 teams left in each class. Iowa City Regina had a big win Monday night in the rain. It wasn't a hard rain, but it
Yeah.
was a misting rain. Regina with a 10-1 record and still ranked number 1 in the state destroyed Panorama of Panora 57-13. They scored on their first 8 possessions and would have scored on every possession of the first half, except they ran out of time on that last possession before
Well, the
halftime.
first half, look what, I mean,
It was
he only
51 to
played
nothing at half.
half of
Yeah.
that quarter.
Yeah.
He didn't even get 2
Starters
quarters.
came out midway through the second quarter. This Friday, Regina will host, without a doubt, their last home game of the year. It's going to be against Central Decatur of Leon. They have a 9-2 record, and that game will be at 7 o'clock. They have a couple of opponents in common, believe it or not. Central Decatur of Leon is near the Missouri border on the other side of Des Moines. It's about 180 miles away from Iowa City. Those poor kids and family are going to have to make that long trip, and I think the inevitable is awaiting them. But you never know. The Central Decatur of Leon played Pella Christian last week in the playoffs and lost 38-14. I'm sorry, beat Pella Christian 38-14. That's the team that Regina played in the last regular season game of the year and beat 67 to something.
63, I think.
Yeah,
They also, Central Decatur of Leon also played Panorama of Panora in September, late September of this season, and beat them 42-13. Now, Pella Christian's a real good team,
Yes, they were.
yeah.
and Central Decatur put a thumping on them.
Right.
Panorama, I know, is a real good team. They had an incredible quarterback, 6'4", 235 for a small school.
Well,
Wow,
you could
big
see
kid.
in the second quarter, they were just worn out.
Yeah.
Where Marsh got a big.
Probably from the bus
cancer,
ride.
But they, and driving.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Now, I talked to the bus drivers, they left at 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
it's a lot of
They
sitting
stopped
around.
in Grinnell because some of the kids were cramping up. They
Really?
let them walk around the bus for a while.
Really?
He said he couldn't believe the trip that they had.
It's too bad. No team should have to drive that far for
Nope.
that wasn't even a quarterfinal game. I mean,
That's
it seems like they could
every
find
year.
a neutral site in between
Right.
that would be more
Especially
fair for
When
everybody.
you're 6 miles
Yeah.
away from the West Branch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Who got thumped at the Rose Bowl?
that was a surprise.
The
West
Little
Branch
Rose
gonna
Bowl.
be, yeah.
You know, I was talking to Adam Martinson last night at wrestling practice, and he said he wasn't surprised.
Really?
He said
I wouldn't
he
either.
never felt West Branch was that good or played any real opponents this year. And he said Dyke New Hartford, who beat West Branch, is a heck of a team and a heck of a
Always have been.
program.
They
They've had a
always were
good
in the
program for
finals
years.
With that Parker.
As
team
has
with
West.
That's right.
Yeah, they played each other for years and
Yeah.
went to the
Yeah.
state.
And then Solon got beat.
Yes,
Another surprise.
That,
Yeah.
That really surprised me.
Did
that
it?
one,
me
yeah.
too.
That one did.
Yeah,
West Delaware, which is in Manchester,
yes.
always has a good football program, and they whooped them good. They didn't just squeak
I
one
know.
by.
I
They
know.
whooped them real good. So a couple surprises, and then of course the ultimate surprise, West High.
Yes.
I mean, okay,
Wow.
I'm gonna-
Linmar
I'm
is
just-
a good team.
yeah.
Linmar was 9-1.
9-1 Linmar at home versus West High of Iowa City, and it was I almost have to call it miraculous. West High went into this game with a 6-4 record, and they had lost. Let me just document this for you. Their schedule has included Class 4A heavyweights: West Des Moines Valley, Cedar Rapids, Washington, Bettendorf, and Pleasant Valley. All of them #1 playoff seeds.
Yes.
All of them beat West High in close games, pretty much close games. That West Des Moines Valley, that first game of the year on the road, that wasn't real close, but they didn't get blown out.
Bettendorf, they lost to them in overtime.
Overtime,
Yeah.
and should have beaten them.
Yeah.
In fact, didn't Bettendorf get beat Monday night? Pretty sure they got beat.
I don't know.
Pretty sure they got beat. West High was down 10 points with 4:20 left in the game. And young Tyler Eads, wide receiver on offense, came up with big play after big play after big play. And they came back and they beat Linmar on the road. Final score was 38-34. They were down 34.
You knew the
23.
happiest guy in town is Dave Triplett.
Oh, I'll bet.
Yeah.
That's
That's his
his
son-in-law.
yeah, that's his
Son-in-law, that's
Garrett
right.
Hartwig.
Oh,
And he's done a
32
great
triplet.
job over there this
you
year.
mean the coach?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, you really have to give him credit.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
the regular coach
Yeah.
got up and left.
Late
And
in the
late.
game, he quit in
He
April.
quit.
Yes.
And then
Went
this
to
guy has
Oklahoma.
to take over.
Oh.
He's done a fantastic
Yeah.
job.
He
Yes,
was
he
their
has.
defensive
I
coordinator
just
at
hope they
West High.
keep him there and really work.
I bet they do.
I hope so.
We shall see. So West High now, Friday night, has to go back to Kingston Stadium in Cedar Rapids to face #1 undefeated Cedar Rapids,
Yeah.
Washington for the second time this year. And no coach likes to face the same team twice in the same year in
No.
football. and especially one with a little incentive.
Now, when they played before, I know Washington won. Was it a close
Yeah,
game?
it was a close game. I
Okay.
can't remember the score, but it was a close game. I believe it was played on a Thursday night.
So if West High wins that game against Washington, Unidome,
Oh, yeah.
here they come.
Oh, yeah, the winners Friday night all go to the Unidome in Cedar Falls. And
And ours is Saturday,
what is?
and then the finals are
Oh,
a week from that on Friday.
I got you.
If they win,
If they win, they play the following Saturday.
Saturday.
okay,
Okay.
yeah.
I had to get this straight because we got, it's like I'm going to Minnesota, so I'm missing
Oh, yeah.
This is off the subject, but I happen to think, I was wondering, when does Iowa play?
Iowa will play Saturday at
Well-
11 a.m. on ESPN 2.
Two,
The
not
Deuce.
you.
Not
No,
you.
two's a
Good.
good one.
Thank goodness.
Okay,
Yes.
the one-
Yeah.
ESPN 2, okay.
So, you know, it's that time of year. High school football is coming to a head. Want to send out congratulations, too, to the City High and West High volleyball teams, both of whom last night made the state tournament. That's very exciting. West High, I mean, both these schools have tremendous volleyball programs.
Yes.
Yeah,
And,
they do.
And West High is at it again. City High's right there in the mix.
Did Clear Creek make it yet?
Yeah,
They're
Clear
right there
Creek made
too.
it,
They.
too.
I
play-
think Solon
Yeah.
made it.
Solon.
Yeah.
I think West Branch made it.
Well, how'd they come out last?
I think
I
they
don't
won.
know.
I think
didn't
they
see
won.
that score, okay.
I think they won.
Need to
And they made it.
congratulate Clear Creek too on their great football season. I mean, they finished, 7-3?
Is that what it was? Yeah.
And they lost their playoff game, but
Well, they won
that's
the-
turned around out
They
there.
won their district thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a big step forward for a program that's really
Been
never
down.
had much of a football legacy. It's a
They
school
got
on
good- they
the
got
grow.
Good coaches.
Oh, they do. Matt Hughes and his father.
Yep.
Matt Hughes, former Hawkeye. He and his father, both former assistants at Regina. They've done a tremendous job turning the Clear Creek program
And
around.
this is only their second year
Yeah,
there. Yeah,
It's only going to get better at
Well,
Clear
and-
Creek.
that's right.
Solon, you have to give them credit too.
That's right.
They're just,
I just couldn't believe that, but when you go back to the Regina Solon game, we lost it. We have a kid by the name of Adams that has not missed a field goal or an extra point in that game. It hit and went off the side.
what's his
Hit the
first name?
goalpost.
What's his first name?
Adams, there's two Adams.
There's two
This
Adams.
ain't Dr. Adams.
This kid
One's not
can
Adam.
kick like I have
A-D-A-M.
not seen
Yeah, okay.
before. I mean, I've never seen a high school kid kick like him.
He's an
On
excellent
kickoff,
kicker.
it goes to the
Yeah,
upright.
Yeah.
he'll
Yeah.
be kicking in college someday.
Oh,
I
I
want
know
to
he
see
will.
him kicking for Iowa. I have
That'd be
never
awesome.
seen anybody. He's like a pro right now. He
Yeah.
is automatic. He all of his kicks. Well, virtually all of his kickoffs are touchbacks,
Yeah,
and not even close. Now Monday night, a couple weren't, but he was kicking into the wind, and he still got it to the goal line.
How was our quarterback?
He was superb. Drew Cook was
I'm
just
just glad
superb.
we have him.
Oh yeah.
I'm so glad we got him.
But then the backup quarterback, Stenger,
Yeah,
he came in.
I told you, he
Yeah.
plays just as much as,
Oh yeah, he's a junior.
gonna
He'll
be
be the
good.
starter next year, and he looks fantastic in there.
that's great.
He had also in the Regina game we're talking about again. He was on the receiving end of a 93-yard touchdown pass play. And he couldn't have been more wide open in the middle of the field, but once he caught that ball, his burst of speed, again, for a 1A small school, you just don't see that kind of talent.
and the passes are so straight.
Oh,
You
yeah,
know what I'm
perfect
saying?
pass.
What's his dad do?
Don't know,
I don't know.
don't know. I couldn't tell you.
Well, it's been an interesting season, and we're getting close to the end. I
Yeah.
guess. So we just hope that Regina and West keep winning and
What
get
did you-
to the Unidome.
Each team played two games,
Well, they got to
Three.
keep winning.
They got three.
To get to the end, they got 3 left.
3 left.
Yeah, counting state title game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Switching gears to the Hawkeyes, the Hawkeye football team had perhaps one of the best games in the Kirk Ferentz era. They put an old-fashioned spanking, an old-fashioned Hayden Fry type spanked on Northwestern, which was just glorious to see.
That's for sure.
Certainly was.
48-7, and it was dominant from the get-go, from the kickoff, first possession, touchdown, end of the half. What was the score?
37-0.
38 zip, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was just
Or no,
beautiful.
It was a 38-7.
I think they scored in the first half.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Northwestern did.
They
and
they
that was
scored early in the second quarter on the muffed
yeah,
Punt.
muff punt.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a bad snap either. That was a good snap. Our punter just muffed it.
Didn't see him the rest of the day, did you?
No, I don't think we did.
Yeah.
But just about everything that could go right for the Hawkeyes did, other than that muffed punt, and everything that could go wrong for the Fighting Fitzgeralds.
What I
What's
liked
his name?
about the game
Fitzpatrick?
was the way the offensive line looked.
Yeah.
Yes.
There you go.
And our defensive
that's
line,
what-
Murph, was
Boy, their
excellent
offense-
also.
Both of them.
It all
Yeah.
started with the line play. It'd been 2 weeks since the Hawkeyes had last played at Maryland, and we know how ugly that game was. And we've talked about the complete collapse of really every aspect of the Hawkeye football game that day. And it started with the offensive and defensive lines.
Yeah.
The turnaround, conversely, last Saturday started again with both the offensive and defensive lines. Brandon Scherf was up to his self. Oh, speaking of Brandon Scherf, tonight on the Big Ten Network,
Yeah.
the what's that? The Journey is going to feature Brandon Scherf.
Oh, really? Do you know what time?
I don't.
Okay.
The Gazette didn't have the time. It just said tonight.
He's playing good football.
It'll run all week.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Brandon
Good.
Scherf is. I think he's healthy. We'll never know for sure if he's fully recovered from his knee surgery. But again, the line play was the difference. Northwestern's quarterback didn't have a chance. Louis Trinket-Passat had 3 sacks in the game and was named the co-defensive player of the week in the Big Ten. The Northwestern defense had no chance. The Hawkeye offensive line gave Jake Rudock, the quarterback, as much time as he needed.
That's the best game I've seen
Yeah.
him play all the
Best Jake
Since he's
Rudock
been
game
here.
yet.
And he threw a long pass, too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was a little bit of everything. Now here's some stats.
Okay.
Yeah, these are interesting.
Iowa piled up a season high 483 yards of total offense, and that included a season best 262 rushing yards.
We needed that.
And they scored the most points in a Big Ten game since 2005.
Wow.
48-7. Iowa is now 6-2 overall, 3-1 in the conference. Northwestern is humbled once again, and I like them humble, by the way. Their overall record
Did
is
you say
3-5.
humbled or fumbled?
Both.
Yeah.
I like them humbled and fumbled. They're 2-3 in the Big Ten. Mark Weissman continued his assault on the rushing touchdown record
What
by
about the new
adding
guy?
3 more. Well, I'll get to him.
Oh, but
I'll get to him. Mark Weissman had 3 more rushing touchdowns, and that was a career high for him.
Is that right?
It tied his career high
Yeah.
for rushing touchdowns in a game. Akram Wadley, whom most people had never heard of, not only was he the leading rusher for the Hawkeyes, but he's the first Hawkeye running back this year to gain 100 yards in a game. He had 106 yards.
is that Bernie Wyatt's recruit?
Well, he's from New Jersey.
He had something
That's
to do
Bernie
with it.
Wyatt
He had
territory.
something to do with it.
Akram Wadley carried the ball 15 times and had a touchdown. He is the first Hawkeye, like I said, in 10 games to reach the 100-yard mark. Mark Weissman had 94 yards rushing on 20 carries.
So if you give him 6 of his, we had 2 guys got 100 yards.
That's right. That's
He
right.
has to give up 6.
I don't think Weissman ran the ball maybe
No.
more than once in the second half.
No, he didn't.
And
That's good.
It's real good because we know that the last couple seasons he's been a workhorse, and by this point in the season, come November, he's beat up.
Beat up.
That's right.
And they
now
have
he's
saved
ready
him.
to
That's
Ready to roll
wonderful.
now.
You betcha.
He's just like a bull.
We hope.
Well, and let's face it, guys, November presents 5 football games. They haven't played that many in any month yet. And every one of these games is a border rival, starting with Northwestern, that, let's face it, that's become quite a rivalry.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Pat Fitzgerald, or whatever his name is, Fitzpatrick, what's his name?
Fitzgerald.
Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
He hates Iowa, and he makes no bones about it.
I don't know if he hates them.
Oh, I think he does.
He dislikes them.
I think hate,
I think he hates them.
I think-
Minnesota hates Iowa too.
Yeah, I know.
and they like to chant
Yeah, we
it.
don't like him much either, so.
So, yeah,
I know.
yeah, I don't care shucks about Pat Fitzgerald.
I think he's a
or
very
whatever
good
he
coach.
is.
He's had a couple of tough years with a lot of injuries, but
I like it that way.
Yeah.
Not the injuries, the tough
Well, look
ones.
who he's beat.
Wisconsin
beat
and Penn
Wisconsin.
State.
How they beat Wisconsin is still a mystery to me.
Yeah, me too.
That's the proof though.
It shows the
Iowa's
Big Ten
improvement.
can beat everything.
I hope that's the case.
Iowa's improved a great deal.
Well,
Yeah, we hope it continues, right? Murph?
Minnesota is the next opponent. The battle for Floyd of Rosedale is this Saturday. As we said earlier, it will be at 11 a.m. on ESPN2. It is at TCF Stadium, I think that's what they call it.
Yeah,
A lot of Hawkeye fans are going to be there. That place only holds 50-some thousand,
58.
and there's still tickets available for the game.
it
believe
does
or not.
remind you of Kinnick though, doesn't it, Bud?
Yeah, it
The
does.
design of it, I mean.
Does it?
Yeah.
I ain't been there.
I've been up
And
there
there's
twice.
plenty of
It's
room
a-
because you park in the fairground parking lot.
Huh.
And they have shuttles going there. It doesn't cost you anything. And
Yeah,
they have you over there in 15,
That's great.
20 minutes.
That's great. Minnesota is eerily similar to Iowa. Minnesota has the same record, 6-2 overall, 3-1 in the conference. They have not lost a home game this year. They did, however, lose their last game, which was on the road at lowly Illinois. How that happened, I don't know.
well, their star tailback fumbled deep in his territory, and Illinois picked it up and ran it in the end zone for the winning touchdown.
Is that right?
Was his name Coleman?
Yeah.
For Minnesota?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he had a great game. I mean, he's a great running back, but, that
we
one
stopped-
play
We stopped him.
allowed Illinois to win the
Cobb
game.
is his name.
Cobb? Is
Yeah.
it Cobb?
He got
Okay.
very few yards last year against us.
Yeah.
Right, and let's be blunt. Minnesota is one-dimensional. They are a running football
There
team.
you go. That's what I.
David
I
Cobb is 6th in the nation with 141 yards rushing per game. We haven't done well against stud running backs this year.
No.
Oh, we haven't played that many.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
we played one in
Pittsburgh.
Indiana. We played one in
He
Pittsburgh.
ran all over us the first half.
Yeah, yeah.
Why did he do the second half?
He didn't do so hot.
No.
That's right. That's.
But he had 150 yards the first half.
Well,
Yeah.
he did the first
You know?
half. They got beat.
And
The
the
150
Indiana
yards, it didn't help him.
tailback, wow, he was something here.
Yep. Now, also, Northwestern had a pretty good running back. And the Hawkeye defensive line limited Northwestern
Yeah.
to 105 rushing yards
We-
on the game.
We're a different team. We're a different team now.
Yeah, it looked like it.
Sure did look like it against Northwestern. It really did, yeah.
That offensive line, I still can't get over it.
Minnesota has got a very good offensive line as well. Again, very similar teams in terms of makeup. Well coached. Jerry Kill is he's a good coach.
Yes.
No two ways around it.
And he's had the same staff forever with him,
Yeah. From Northern Illinois to now Minnesota.
yeah.
They've accomplished great things. Let's just hope that this Saturday isn't one of them. We want to keep Floyd of Rosedale right here in
Yeah.
Iowa City. The bacon belongs in Iowa City. They may hate Iowa, but we love Floyd and want to keep him here.
The thing that drives me crazy about all this Big Ten scheduling with Nebraska coming in 4 years ago and Rutgers and Maryland now, this will be the fourth time in the last 5 years we've played at Minnesota. Now, that's not right.
No, it's not.
No.
And I'd
That's
love to
just
know
not right.
how do.
I don't know how that happens. How does every team, before we play them, have a bye?
And that's the other thing.
What, 4 games in a row?
Yep. 4 in a
Do we
row.
get the okay,
The schedule?
schedule?
No.
It's all
See, we played
computerized.
Northwestern and Iowa City 2 in a row.
Yeah, we
That's
played
true.
Wisconsin 2 in a row in Iowa City.
Yeah, 2 in a row is not that
I'd rather have
unusual, but 4 out of 5 is
Wisconsin
very
2
unusual.
in a row here than anybody.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you one thing I do like about the schedule is how we have nothing but border foes, border rivals the last 5 games of the year.
Agreed, yeah.
Northwestern, Minnesota, the Cheating Illini, Wisconsin, and then Nebraska.
Well, you know what,
That's pretty
Minnesota,
cool.
they've got the worst schedule of all of us in the Western Division left.
Yeah.
They have to, if they play us, then they play at Ohio State. Then they play Wisconsin and Nebraska. One of those is, I think it's at Nebraska, then Wisconsin. How would you like, I mean, they may lose all 4 of those
Sucks to be
games.
them.
So, yeah,
Well,
yeah.
all
They may be
4
6-2 now,
Yeah.
but
all
they're not gonna
4
be 6-2
teams-
long.
All 4 teams that are number 1 in that division is a mixed match around.
Yeah,
They all have to play each other
Yep,
yeah.
to
which
get
is
it.
kinda
So,
cool.
I like
It's
it.
cool,
Yeah.
I like it very well.
And I like they're all Western Division
That's
Yeah.
right.
partners of
That's right.
Iowa. So every November game is meaningful.
It
It's
sure
right.
is.
It's
Yeah.
And if we play like we did against Northwestern,
Yeah.
we'll come out. I mean, we got probably the toughest team in our division in Wisconsin coming
Oh, I think
coming
Nebraska's
here.
better.
I don't think, I disagree with
Wisconsin got beat by Northwestern.
you. North,
We
I
always
know,
match up pretty good against Wisconsin
Yep.
for some reason.
but I don't, I think they'll get beat again this week. I think they've got
Nebraska?
a bye weeks in, but then they have to go play Michigan State.
Next
One
week.
of the biggies they have to play.
Well, the big game this week in the Big Ten is Ohio State at Michigan State.
Yeah.
That's going to be a humdinger Saturday night.
Who's gonna win that one, guys?
Michigan State.
I don't,
I think
go
Michigan
Ohio
State easily.
I think Michigan State
Yeah.
probably will, but I'll
Oh,
tell
you
you what,
go.
Ohio State,
I'd vote for Ohio
They're pretty
State
tough.
because
Yeah.
of their coach.
Yeah,
yeah, they're pretty tough. And, you know, there was only a touchdown difference last year
Yeah.
between the two when they
well,
played.
they interviewed.
Michigan
Ohio
State won.
And they've been waiting for that game all year
Yeah.
long because evidently they shouldn't have lost it. They were ahead.
Huh? I don't remember, but
Ohio
Well,
State did
this
have a
guy-
lead, yeah.
Yeah,
Last
this guy
year.
was talking
Michigan
about
State
it.
came back, yeah.
I don't like either team, and I
If
don't
they
like
could
either
both
coach.
lose, that'd be really good.
If there was only a way.
Well, we don't really
The
care.
team that's
No.
really going downhill is Penn State.
Yes,
Yes, they are.
they've lost 4 in a row, Murph,
Yeah.
Penn State.
And they
that-
started out very well.
That was a disgrace game. I don't care if I ever see a game like
Maryland
that.
and Penn State, the
When
captains
those guys
met.
won't shake hands. There's something
Wow.
wrong with our
Yeah,
system.
Well, those kids, they all, the school got fined, the kids got suspended, the Maryland kids.
They did?
Oh, yeah.
First.
Oh, yeah.
that's
For what,
not
one
official.
game?
They should
I
have.
think for one game, I didn't, I honestly didn't see what the suspension was.
Slapping that referee.
And that's a
Should
team
be
that's
a
been
long
invited to join the conference, and they screw up.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's why the Big Ten came down hard on them. It was like, maybe in the ACC you can do that, but not here. You don't show up your opponent before the game even starts and do that kind of garbage.
Yeah.
And I guess there were some other theatrics during
Yeah.
warm-ups.
Right.
So,
And that's what
some
got me. It was during the warm-up.
Maryland players
Well,
were
they
running
always
through the
start-
Penn State formations.
Oh,
Oh, really?
Yeah, they were
Didn't know
being
that.
cocky. And it's a rivalry. The two campuses are very close to one another, relatively speaking.
Yeah.
And I guess now it's an even greater rivalry. So, welcome to the Big Ten, Maryland. You just got fined.
Yeah.
That was spooky.
as
though.
a-
When you see that goes on,
I've
they got
never
in a
seen that
fight.
before.
how much was the fine?
I don't know.
Wasn't that big?
$10,000.
$10,000, I mean,
$10,000.
that's,
Yeah,
should have been worse than that.
Yeah.
That's worth $50,000.
yeah.
That's what I was
Right,
thinking, Earl.
yeah.
Joe, how we doing on time? 20 minutes. All right.
Okay.
I'm trying to think. There aren't a whole lot of other interesting Big Ten games this weekend. Nebraska's off. Michigan, Michigan has to play at
They at Northwestern, I think.
at Northwestern.
Yeah.
And they could get beat at Northwestern.
They could, but man, Northwestern just looks
That could go
terrible.
either way, Murph, I think,
Yeah.
but Michigan played a lot better defense last Saturday
They
against
did.
Indiana.
They did, yeah, and I picked them to beat Northwestern this week.
Yeah, but
I don't know. I
Pat
think this
Fitzgerald
coach
at home,
took-
his
yeah.
back's against the wall.
I bet they've
you
been
know?
practicing every day since they
Bob,
got
how did you pick the Northwestern game.
Yeah, who'd you
I
pick?
picked Michigan
I did too.
over Northwestern.
Yeah, I did
What'd
too.
you do, Murph? Who you
I
picked?
didn't pick them.
No.
Yeah.
Let's see, Michigan State, Ohio State, and then
Iowa.
does Wisconsin have the
Minnesota.
week off? Nebraska's
know.
off.
I know Nebraska has a bye.
Yeah.
I think they're the only ones that have a bye as far as Wisconsin. I thought they were playing, but I don't know.
They might be. Indiana, Purdue, who knows?
Yeah.
Any other football topics that you'd like to discuss? Did I mention Akram Wadley, the
Yes.
freshman running back? It was voted freshman of the week in the Big Ten.
Pleasant
Is that right?
surprise, huh?
Very nice.
You know, we get Sean Daniels going down and Cansari,
Yeah.
both injured, and here comes this young freshman redshirt out of nowhere.
Yeah, but
Canzari's supposed to be back this week.
yeah, that's right.
You know, I will say one thing about Wadley that interested me. I always listen to Gary Dolphin and Ed Pogolak on my radio
Mm-hmm.
when I'm watching the game, and Pogolak said, this is going to, I don't know if you guys agree with this, it kind of surprised me. He said, Wadley's moves and the way he cuts, and stops and changes directions reminds him of Ronnie Harmon.
Mm-hmm.
Now
Freddie
that-
Russell. He
Of
looks
who?
like Freddie
That-
Russell.
Ronnie
Ronnie Harmon.
Yeah.
It goes back to the mid-'80s. Now
Ronnie had the
That's
shimmy.
quite a compliment.
Ronnie could shake
Yeah.
and bake and just deke out anybody.
Yeah.
And did often. And Akram Wadley showed a lot of those same attributes
Doesn't-
in a smaller package. He's smaller than Ronnie Harmon.
Yes.
He's closer in size to Fred Russell, little Freddie Russell,
Yeah,
from the Orange Bowl team in 2002.
right.
I think he's a little bigger than Freddie.
Well, he's certainly
height-wise.
taller.
Yeah.
Freddie was
Isn't
like
Harmon
5'7"
still
or
here
8.
around Iowa City?
Who?
Harmon?
No.
I don't know.
No. He, where is he?
I think maybe he's in Canada.
I think that sounds right, bud. He was at Western Illinois, helping coach there,
Yeah.
and then he moved on. I don't know where he is now, but Akram Wadley has some really quick
Yeah.
cut moves.
But, and what I liked about him, he really follows his blocking.
Yep.
When he had to go that one way, then he watched, he must have looked at Curtin and said, they got a hole over there for me.
Good
Yeah.
peripheral vision.
Yeah, right.
Pick
So,
those openings. Yeah.
but now here's the thing:
I
if
just like-
Canzari's back this week, we might not see Akram Wadley.
No, I think we will.
Maybe.
You can't just set him down.
We're going to see, now, last week we said, and we heard Marv Cook say it at lunch last Friday, look for Mark Weissman to get 30 to 35 carries. He had 20 carries.
Okay.
I think he would have had a lot more
Yes,
if
he-
we hadn't been winning so handily.
That's right.
And if
Probably.
Akram Wadley hadn't done so
That's
well.
Well,
I
let's-
look for him to have a bunch of carries against Minnesota. It's
Let's look into the future of tailbacks. Now, Mark Wiseman next year will be graduated.
Gone. Yep.
And Bullock will be graduated.
Mm-hmm.
What about Cansari? Is he a junior or senior?
And he's not a senior.
Junior.
Okay, then he has one more year. Then you have Wadley.
Is he a junior
Parker.
or sophomore?
Junior, I think.
He'd be a junior for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I think.
Then you have Cansari next year, Wadley. Hopefully LaShawn Daniels is healthy.
Yep.
And you would have
Is it
Parker.
Parker, that's it. The
So you have
St. Louis
those
kid.
four guys
Number
for
10.
sure coming back next year, right?
Did I hear that they got someone out of Florida? It's on the internet that he,
Recruiting in, you mean?
yes,
This
for next year.
next year's, yeah.
I think he's from Texas.
He's
I
a
think-
4-star.
Yeah.
I think Paulie Moss told you that, bud.
Yes.
Is
I
he-
think that,
he's from Texas, right?
No,
Texas,
Florida.
it's Texas or
yeah,
Florida?
by the name of Cook.
Florida.
Yeah, right.
Okay,
We got
Florida.
a Drew Cook
Yeah,
going to the
Because I
Hawkeyes.
know a lot of those teams down there,
Mm-hmm.
you know, they're always writing about the high school teams. And this kid's from Florida.
I think it was from Florida.
They've got 17 verbal commitments now from this year's senior high
Okay.
school class. There's only room for a couple more.
20
Yeah,
probably is there.
20, you know,
Yeah.
it
But
always
out of that
depends.
20, you can bet five of them won't back out,
Well, I don't think any of them will back out.
you know?
Oh,
No.
you might have one or two maybe,
Yeah.
but
Commitments, you can change your mind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but usually Iowa doesn't have that.
Well, there's,
too much.
no, There's one kid that I know they're looking at Regina, and he'll have to back out of his,
Ooh,
the running back, but he got a concussion the other
you
night.
sure he got concussed,
Yeah.
Brinkman?
Brinkman?
Well, that's what everyone was saying.
Yeah.
No, I'm not a doctor, but.
He was holding the back of his
well,
neck
did
after a
you
big
see
long
him
play.
hit the ground?
Yeah.
He hit that ground. You could
Yeah.
hear it from up where we were standing.
Boy, he's a fast guy.
Oh, he sure is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of that speed is coached because they work so hard on speed training
Yeah,
and
that's true.
strength training at Regina, and it starts at an early age. They don't start that in high school.
You know who's a lot of credit for that is this
Alex Canellis.
Alex.
Yeah,
Canellis.
absolutely.
He just,
And the weight coach at Iowa.
yeah, that's right.
Well,
How about basketball?
we're going to talk basketball. I went to the first Hawkeye exhibition game of the season
Yeah.
on Sunday with my son, and they played Raleigh Massimino's team, Northwood of Florida, who, by the way, was on TV last night at Villanova, his old school.
Oh, is that right?
And they had Raleigh and the current Villanova coach mic'd up. So that was kind of neat. It was
And he-
another exhibition
And
game.
he must know the Iowa coach quite well.
Yes.
Yes.
Philly, Villanova's a Philly school. Fran McCaffrey is from
Went over and
Philly.
talked to him for a long-
Yeah.
He
yeah.
tried to recruit Fran.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Fran went to where? Wake Forest or somewhere first, and then he came back to
He bounced around.
the
Seton Hall.
was it Boston College or somewhere?
No, I think Earl's right. Seton
Yeah,
Hall,
Seton-
maybe.
Seton Hall. Okay,
I don't.
but
Well-
there's a
They do.
connection there.
How'd they
East-
do last night?
Oh, you mean the
Who?
team North?
Northwood?
Yeah.
They got destroyed by
Yeah.
Villanova, 90-something to 40-something. The Hawkeyes didn't look so strong. It was a close game, 38-32 at halftime. In fact, it was kind of a snooze fest. And then the second half started. And that's when, obviously, Fran got in the Hawkeye players' heads, and they got inside the jersey of the Northwood players and played tough defense, hit their threes, took their open threes, rebounded, and put them away. The final score, I didn't even write it down. It wasn't close.
It was
90.
92 to 51 or something
it?
like that, or
That'd be
91
like
to
their
52.
Yeah,
40-point difference.
not bad for having only a 6-point lead at halftime.
What'd you guys think about especially the new players?
Well, I'll tell you what I think, and I saw him up close and personal. Trey Dickerson is the new point guard. He's a short guy. He's a sophomore. He's a junior college transfer. He's got 3 years left at Iowa. I don't remember the last time I saw an Iowa basketball player with his kind of quickness. He's kind of like an Akram Wadley on the basketball floor. He spins, he cuts, and he is a very good distributor of the ball, and I thought he shot the ball very well. He looked confident without being cocky. He seemed to look like he belonged on the floor with the starting five when he was out there.
Can he
Very
play
impressive.
defense?
Yeah, he did. He did very well. The other kid is Trey Dickerson. I'm sorry, Dominic Ewell, and that's spelled U-H-L. He's a long, tall drink of water, pretty skinny.
6'9".
I bet he doesn't weigh much more than 215 pounds. He is not very heavy, no real muscular definition on him, but that kid,
No fat.
he can shoot the ball. He was the leading rebounder for the Hawkeyes that day. He went to the foul line at least a couple times, and his shooting technique is flawless.
What I
Good
liked
stroke.
about his
Yes,
shooting, when he did miss, he was in there to get the rebound.
yes. He knew where to go for
Yeah,
rebounds.
right.
Yeah.
He's going to have a tough time in the Big Ten this year, though. He's going to get pushed around.
But remember
If
Aaron
he-
White when he
yeah.
came in as a freshman?
He wasn't this skinny.
We wasn't this skinny. okay.
No, not
Okay.
this
No, but
skinny.
they'll get some weight on it.
They're going to have to. I was disappointed when I saw the Utah kid. I thought he would have more muscle definition this
They
year.
don't.
He doesn't look any different.
But he played good, I thought.
He played well in the second half. Aaron White, I was disappointed with in the first half. He looked it looked just like the end of last season. They just
Oh,
didn't
that's
have
right.
any life and looked to be
But
going
it
through the
looked to
motions.
me like they were giving the younger guys more opportunities to shoot than they were. They were handing the ball off.
It was all right. And let's face it, it clicked in the second half. They
Yeah,
looked like a team. They looked like a unit.
right.
Everybody played better in the second
And
half.
Peter Jock, he had 16 points, didn't he? And
He looked
He's a
good.
Good shooter.
Yeah.
Yeah, in this game, Peter Jock shot more than I've ever seen him shoot in a game. And he looked good. And the other kid from Cedar Rapids,
I think the
Oglesby.
coaches told
Oglesby
Jock
looked
to
good.
shoot.
Yeah, I hope so, because he has to. And Oglesby didn't hesitate to shoot, and his stroke looked sharp.
good.
So
And they have to.
Good start.
We're
Yeah.
gonna have to shoot. We don't
Oh,
have a
yeah.
marble to drive in there.
No, we don't. And I thought I'd see more of Woodbury with the ball in the paint offensively, and we didn't. Woodbury, I mean, you can't say he isn't a factor, because when you're 7 feet 1 inches tall, you're always a factor.
Yeah.
He rebounded pretty well. I just would like to see him do more with the ball on offense. He still kicks it out on the fast break after a rebound, and he does a lot of good things. I thought Olashany was disappointing. He just looked,
But that's
it's early.
we're pretty early
Yeah.
on that.
Oh,
real
yeah,
early.
yeah.
Because, see, I thought Woodbury played a hell of a good game. When they fed that ball into him, this year he didn't miss many of those. Or last year he'd missed that one.
Well, he wasn't shooting much last Sunday at all.
Well, but,
He wasn't looking to shoot, and maybe that's
No, I
just
know.
the offense.
Well,
but
that's
they
part
fed
of
it
their,
into him,
Yeah.
They have an in-out philosophy,
Yeah.
you know. If they
Right.
feed you and you can go to the basket, fine. Otherwise,
Shoot
you know,
it out
part of
to
the
that
offense is to
three-pointer
dish it
line.
back right out.
Yeah.
Let the guy take the three.
Yeah, so the Bear kid from Quad Cities got in and looked
Oh,
real
yeah.
sharp. John Bears.
I forgot about him.
His dad used to be the sports director at KGAN TV back in the day, and he played at what high school in the Quad Cities? On the Iowa
He
side.
played at Bettendorf High, didn't
Was
he?
it Bet?
Yeah, yeah.
The team that West High beat to get to the title game.
That's right.
And he got in, and I'll say it again, he has a real nice looking shot. Didn't hesitate to drive the lane. He's about 6'7" or 9", I'm not sure.
And he's a walk-on, right?
Yeah, walk on.
Yeah,
And
I
he
know
was one of the
John
first
wanted
guys
him.
off the bench.
yeah,
I shouldn't
You
say
remember
that.
John, don't you?
Who?
John
Bear.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He spoke at our garden club last year, I think it was.
John Baer did?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
His son was, I think, maybe the 10th guy on Sunday. So, we'll see.
Good.
They don't play again until a week from this Friday, and there's a doubleheader at Carter Hawkeye. The women will have their first regular season game at 6 o'clock that night, and then the men will have their first regular season game at 8:30. That's the night before the Wisconsin football game, so there will be a lot of people in town. and
So they don't
hopefully-
play another exhibition?
Uh-uh.
Okay.
Maybe, okay, then that's 2 weeks from Friday then,
It's a
because
week.
we got Illinois.
It's a week from this Friday.
Well, then it's Illinois game.
I apologize.
Yeah, you're
I am
right, bud.
wrong, Bud, thank you.
Yes.
You're right, there is a home game
So
the
it'd be
night
the 14th
before.
of November.
Yes, 14th of November.
Okay.
I am so sorry. Thank you, Bud. But
We'll
that'll be a
we'll
fun
forgive
night.
you.
That'll be a fun night. And speaking of the Iowa women's basketball team, they are ranked 19th in the preseason AP poll, which is just wonderful. And
That's about right.
it is
Yeah,
about right.
top 20 is about right, Murph.
Lisa Bluter, we heard her speak at lunch Monday, and she's got a load of talent, especially young freshman talent.
She likes her guard.
Yep.
She's gonna have a good season.
Yeah, there was
Yeah,
something.
just stay
on
healthy, that's the
Sam
main
Logic
thing.
is who we're
TV,
talking
That's
about.
right,
somebody
Sam
made
Logic.
her the coach
Yeah.
of the year for the Big Ten already.
She should be.
Yeah,
She's just,
it was on that sports show, Big Ten Network.
she's really
Well,
something.
the other thing too, you know, Lisa has 278 victories at Iowa. She wins 22 more this year. She'll hit 300.
That's something.
Isn't that something? She's already the all-time Iowa winningest coach,
Yeah,
male or female.
yeah.
So she's done a terrific job.
You know who does a tremendous job is her husband.
Yeah,
He
Yeah.
babysits those kids all the time.
that's a team effort right
Oh,
there.
Yeah.
That's a team effort.
Yeah. And you know what? She's got some excellent assistant coaches.
She does.
Been with her forever.
She really does.
It's a good staff. They do a great job.
Jan Jensen, we had on the show this
Yeah.
summer, and just love her. Was it
Does
this winter?
anybody know anything about the girl who was raising the heck with the university before getting fired?
Tracy Griesbaum.
Yeah.
Don't really know a whole lot about it, but ESPN just ran a print story yesterday on the entire situation, not just the field hockey situation, but
That's another,
women coaches situation. We need a whole show to talk about it.
right, and that's another case. You
And,
have to get all the facts out there
Yeah.
and find out if they're true.
Yeah.
There's so
The
many
Des Moines
people.
Register
Yeah, I read
and
that today.
ESPN have done their Freedom of Information Act, and they've printed some of the emails, email conversations that Gary Barta, the athletic director, had this past summer. Basically what the article states is that as recently as late July, Gary Barta had told people that the investigation into Tracy Griesbaum, the field hockey coach, was over,
Over, yeah.
and then 2 weeks later, she was fired. In other words, he said no further action,
Right.
and then,
Boom.
and in
Now
that
that's-
2 week interim, there are
that's
no
a paper
emails
Writers telling all that
to
stuff.
learn anything about. So he probably did it privately, which a lot of
Before we get
administrators
away-
and coaches do.
Yeah.
You two probably know this better than I do, or Murph. What's going on with this top 25 teams?
What do you mean?
You mean the
Whoever's deciding this, are they coaches or what are they?
well,
Oh,
there's
the
a
AP?
committee of 13
The AP.
people.
It's coaches. But
Not all of them.
But the coaches also admit, head coaches also admit that a lot of times they have assistants or even graduate assistants picked
Well, wait
for
a
them.
second, wait a second. That's the AP poll.
Mhm.
You're talking about the
The one
playoff poll.
Where Mississippi, no. Yeah, right now they got Mississippi playing Mississippi State. This is after
No, no,
they
no, no,
got
no, no,
beat.
no. Mississippi State's out of it. They have 2 losses and they're out of it.
Why is a team with 2 losses out of it?
Because there's enough teams with 1 loss.
Yeah. That's
So
the
we're going
reason.
back to the by your losses then.
Here's what's
And that's
gonna-
what's not fair.
Yeah. Well, here's what's
Because
gonna
I may
get real
beat
interesting.
by Wisconsin and Nebraska, and if that's the only team,
Yeah.
2 teams I got
Yeah.
beat, I shouldn't be thrown out of it.
That's right. I mean, look at Mississippi. They have lost only to Alabama and to Auburn, and they've beaten everybody else. What's going to be interesting, the guys on ESPN were talking this morning, the way the SEC conference schedule is set up, there may not be a 1-loss SEC team at the end of the season. In fact, very well may not be a 1 team.
Wouldn't that break my heart?
So you got Oregon, you got right now who, Michigan's, no,
No.
No.
Our top team is Nebraska 15.
but,
No,
Then
no,
it's
no, no.
Ohio State, then it's Michigan State.
Michigan State's ranked 8th.
right.
Okay.
Right.
That's our top team.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then Nebraska's like 13 and Ohio State's like 14.
We're about out of time, so I do want to mention that Lisa Bluter's Hawkeye women's basketball team opens their season with an exhibition game on Sunday at 3 o'clock
Okay?
against St. Ambrose, the
Yes.
Bees. Now, this is what's going to be interesting about that game.
That's where she coached.
Right.
Not only is that where she coached, and
For 6 years.
not only is it where I spent 2.5 years, but Sam Logic, Sam Logic sister, is the starting point guard for St. Ambrose.
Yeah.
So it's going to be real interesting to see them butt heads. We're out of time. I do want to, I wanted to mention that today, had he lived, my father would be 95 years old, the old coach.
Wow.
He would have enjoyed this show had he ever gotten a chance to see it. Paul Keller, good man. I never forget him on November 5th. 95 would have.
And your
been
son is
95
named
too.
after
And-
your dad.
Yep.
Yeah.
So happy birthday, Paul Keller. And thank you very much for tuning into Sports Opinion every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. on Channel 18. Every Sunday night at 6 p.m. we rerun the show. You can always catch the show on the website patv.tv, or you can go to my Facebook page, and I've got it up there too. Let's see if we can break a record for 311 views next week. We'll have to wait and see. But anyway, thanks for tuning in. Thanks, Joe Murphy. And remember this, beat the Gophers, keep Floyd in Iowa City, and either you're a Hawk or you're not. Go Hawks, go Regals, go Trojans at West High.
Amen.